Third grade. Today we're going to continue on with Unit 11, Week 1, Day 2. Repeat after me. IND, find, eind. ILD, wild, ild. OLD, cold, old. OLT, colt, oat. OST, post, oast. IVE, give, iv. STLE, castle, soul. TION, vacation, shun. SION, mansion, shun. SION, television, jeune. Nice job. Now let's listen up for our new concept of today.
Hi friends, I'm Mrs. Keo and I'm a literacy specialist with Wilson Language Training. Today we're going to work on Unit 11, Week 1, Day 2, more contractions today. All right, so let's go ahead and let me write this one up here for you. See if you remember. Think about what I'm doing as I'm doing this up here. What word did I just write? Doesn't. Mrs. Keo doesn't like to run. So here's the word doesn't. Now what letter did the apostrophe take the place of here? That's right, the letter O is gone and now it's replaced by that apostrophe. So some contractions are a little bit trickier to do than this one was. So let me show you one of those tricky contractions. What is this word? Must. Okay, so I must. Let me build this for you. Okay, so now let's read it. Must not. You must not play in the grass when it's wet. But I want to make these two words into a contraction. So I'm going to follow the same rules I followed to make contractions. So I'm going to move this N over. I'm going to drop that O, but I'm going to replace it with my apostrophe, and I'm going to bring over, my T. Now, take a look at this word. We don't pronounce this T. We say mustn't. Say that with me, mustn't. This T is not, we're not saying it when we make the contraction. So I can say you must not play in the grass when it's wet, or you mustn't play in the grass when it's wet. Do you hear this T? No, you don't. We say mustn't. So that is one tricky one that we have to do. So you have to remember that with must not, when you make the contraction, you're going to say mustn't, and you're not going to say that T. Now here is another tricky one. For spelling, some of these are so tricky for spelling. Okay, let's read these two words. Cannot. We cannot run in that grass when it's wet. Cannot. But I want to make this into a contraction. So watch what I'm going to have to do. So I'm going to replace the O right here with my apostrophe, but I still need to do something else, right? I need to take this N and take it away. So I've got rid of two letters there. So now I'm going to scoot everything over. Put this over here. And now what word do I have? Can't. We can't run in the grass when it is wet. So for this one, the apostrophe, it replaces the N and the O. So then I have the word can't. I can't wait for reading time. All right, so some contractions that we are going to learn will just need to be memorized. So will not, the words will not they combine to make an unusual contraction. So let me show you what I mean by that. So here's the word will. Will not. So if I say, I will not go. I will not go. When we make the contraction, I'm going to say, I won't go. So will not turns into won't. So let me show you what that's going to look like. So I've got will not, but if I'm going to make that into a contraction, it's going to look like this. Won't. I won't go. So let's talk about this. What got taken off of the word will? The ILL. So that got taken away. You see that? That ILL, I'm going to make that disappear for you. That got taken away. So I have my W. And I had to add an O right here. And then what was I able to do? Then I was able to take away this O and replace it with my apostrophe. So then it turns into this. So into won't. So again, this one is going to be tricky. So we're just going to have to memorize this. So in the word will, I got rid of the ILL, and then we take off the N, but I had to add my O and then take away that O and replace it with an apostrophe, right? So won't. So it turns into won't. So if you remember, you also have the word, let me write this word for you. What does this say? Do not. So if I want to make this into a contraction, I have to scoot this over and see if I can make that stay. I'm going to drop that O, replace it with my apostrophe, bring over that T. So now it says don't. So for this one, it's no longer saying do. It's saying don't. So don't and won't rhyme. Let me write the word don't down here so you can see that. There's the word don't written out. What do you think of that? So a lot of fun making contractions, but some of the contractions really make us stop and think about what it is that we're doing so that we can write it. All right, so let's go ahead and let's use our dry erase boards. So if you'd like to pause the video and get your dry erase board and get that ready with your marker, we're going to work on spelling these because you need to not only be able to read them, but you also need to know how to spell them. So get your materials and then meet me right back here. Okay, we're back. Are you ready? I know I am. So let's get started. So I am going to write these words here. Get rid of that. Here we go. Read for me what I wrote. Will not. So you go ahead and write will not on your board. Now, how can I say will not another way using a contraction? That's right, won't. I can say won't. So here's what you're going to do. You're going to get your eraser. At my eraser, what do I have to erase? Yeah, the ILL. That goes away. And then what do I do? So I write that, take away that. And then I'm going to write an O right next to that W. And then because my words were so far apart, I'm going to bring this N right over here. What do I do with my O? I'm going to replace it with an apostrophe. And let's bring that T, scoot it right over here. Now what word do I have? Won't. So think of all the steps that we had to go through to go from will not to won't. You got it? All right, here's what I want you to do. Let's go ahead and I want you to go ahead and erase this. Let's do that one more time because this is a tricky one. Let's write will not, will not. Okay, let's come down here and let's write, we need our W. Do we need the ILL? No. What do we need to put right next to this W? The letter O. So I'm not done with that. This N, yep, needs to come right over here. What do I do with this O? I'm going to get rid of it, right? And I'm going to replace it with my apostrophe. And then what about this T? It comes right here. What does this say? Won't. Okay, let's read this word. Let's read these words. Will not turns into won't. You are amazing. You got it. So now let's go ahead and I want you to put your marker down and we're going to trace won't away and spell it as we trace it away. So here we go with your finger. W O N apostrophe T won't. So that is one that you are just going to have to memorize as you go. All right, so let's try a couple more words. Here we go. Do not. Go ahead and write do not. Do not. So I have do not. What am I going to do with this first word? Nothing, just bring it down. What do I do with this N? Bring it over. What about the O? I'm going to replace it with the apostrophe. And then what do I do with the T? I bring it down right here. So from do not, what word do I have here? Don't. So do you see what we did? Okay, let's erase don't with our fingers. Here we go. D-O-N apostrophe T. Don't. All right, very good lesson today. It's a lot of fun when we start thinking about all the different kinds of contractions that we have and how they change. All right, good work, and I'll see you soon.
All right, before we learn our new sound-alike pair today, let's review some of these old sound-alike words. The first one is break. Say it. Break. Spell it with me. Go. B-R-E-A-K. And what's the signal? Right, you break something, or you could take a rest or a break. Good job. This word is also break. Say it. Break. Spell it with me. B-R-A-K-E. And what's that signal? Yeah, when you slam on the brake to stop. This word is lead. Say it. Lead. Spell it. L-E-D. And what's that signal? This person led the followers. This word is lead. Say it. Lead. Spell this one. L-E-A-D. Do you remember that signal? Yeah, we pretend like we're getting a lead out of our pencil. It's also a type of metal. This word is pale. Say it. Pale. Spell it. P-A-I-L. Do you remember the signal? It's like a bucket, so we lifted it up, carried it with us. This pale. Say it. Pale. Spell it. P-A-L-E. Do you remember? Yeah, if you're looking pale, could be sick, right? You don't have a lot of color. All right, here's our first new one. And look, it looks like a contraction, right? It's not a possessive noun. We've been talking about those too. This word is it's. Say it. It's. Let's spell it. I-T, what's this called? Apostrophe S, right? And the meaning of it's is this. So go ahead. I hope you have your student notebook out. You know what's coming. Go to that sound alike word section and find the I's. I believe it's on page 97. Make sure you're writing under the contraction, the one with the apostrophe, I-T apostrophe S, it's, is this. A contraction of it is. Those the two words that it stands for. So pause the video, and for I-T apostrophe S, it's, on page 97, copy down this definition. A contraction of it is. Okay, now for the signal. This one's tricky, but I thought of this. It is, it's. Okay, so we're going to do that. It's two words, it is, and then we contract it to it's with the apostrophe. All right, our second word is also it's, spell it, I-T-S, and this one does not have an apostrophe. Here's the definition to get ready to copy also on page 97. Use when an object goes with something else. So the dog picked up its bone. Remember, this is one of those possessive pronouns, right? The bone belongs to the dog, its bone. Instead of the dog picked up the dog's bone, because that sounds so repetitive, we can say the dog picked up its bone. Okay? Pause the video to copy down the rest of this definition on page 97. All right, I'm not going to lie to you. This one was a very hard one for me to come up with a signal for. But an object goes with something else. So I was getting inspiration from my pen. This cap goes with this pen. So if I want to put on its cap, I go like this. So here's what we're going to do. Pretend you have an imaginary pen. You're going to take off its cap and put its cap back on. Okay? Take it off and then put it back on. Its cap. That's how I'm going to remember it. That's a tough one, though. All right. On page 97, below its and its, you're going to have a blank space right there. Do you see it? All right. We're going to get ready to play a game of guess which one. So let's see how many sentences I want you to write down. 4. Okay, so on page 97, number 1, 2, 3, and 4. All right, let's practice with our new it's or its. Now, here's a hot tip. If the sentence I read to you doesn't make sense to say it is, then it's not the contraction. Okay, so for example, number 1, it's a great day today. Which it's is at the beginning of the sentence. It's a great day today. Does it stand for it is a great day today? I'm giving you way too many hints. Does it make sense to say it is a great day today? Yeah, so then that should be telling your brain that we're using the contraction for number 1. I-T apostrophe S. And do you remember the signal for that one? It is it's, right? Okay, number 2. The car has its windows down. Ask yourself, does it make sense to say the car has it is windows down? Or is it this one then? It is this one. The windows belong to the car. The car has the car's windows down. The car has its windows down. Let's spell it. I-T-S. And remember this tricky signal? Take off the pen's cap and put it back on. Remove its cap, put it back on. Good job. All right, number 3. It's hard to keep running this mile. It's hard to keep running this mile. Ask yourself, do the test. Does it make sense to say it is hard to keep running this mile? Does it sound right? So what are we putting down for number 3? Ding, ding, ding. The contraction, I-T apostrophe S. It is, it's. Very good. And the last one. That fiddle has lost its strings. That fiddle has lost. It is strings. Ugh. I don't think it's the contraction. Which one? ITS. The strings belong to the fiddle. Excellent job, third grade. All right, that's all I have for you today. Thanks for watching.